have a new project here, something I've wanted to do. It's more of a modification than anything else. We're not restoring this tool, but you may be familiar with the cold steel shovel. It's made off of the Russian Special Forces shovel. You're supposed to have learned how to fight with it and throw it and all kinds of different things. It is very sharp all the way around this edge. It's not as concaved as what most shovels are, and so it's more for, you can use it for chopping and things like that. But what I'm curious about is this handle. And I think what I want to do is see if we can't modify this handle a little bit to be able to put cordage around it and maybe even a couple of other items. So join me on this as we modify this shovel and make it something that might be even more useful than it already is. All right, first thing to do, I think, is to take this handle off. You can see where there's already the place where they had turned it on the lathe once before, and there's a center hole there, so I think we can put it onto our lathe easy enough and modify this. But first, let's get these screws out. This is very well made. It's even welded right there. It's not going to come apart. So we'll see here what we've got to do to make this, to get this apart. All right, let's have some fun with this. First, we're going to make a nice little makeshift fishing kit. Now this is just a plastic container that I got at a craft store. It's not very durable, but it should hold our stuff in place. So we have 20 feet of ripcord, it's called. It's a braided line. We'll put that in just a minute. I want to put a needle in there. Get the needle in there. I want to get a couple of sinkers. See if these bags, little bags, and my fat fingers will cooperate. Let's go ahead and put 3 sinkers in there and get a couple fishing hooks that we'll put in there. That needle can be used to use that fishing line for some thread, or we're going to use some paracord here to wrap everything up, and you can take that paracord apart and use the fibers inside for fixing things. So I think this will be, it's a fun little project. I don't know how practical it will be, but it's still fun nonetheless to make. So I'll put those in there. Put these fishing weights in there. Now what I want to know is, I don't know if I'll be able to, if we turn this around, slide that back in there, this will fit on there much better. Leave a little more room in there. Perfect. Got a needle, some fishing line, some weights, your bobber, and your hooks. We've got a little steel tip arrowhead here that I want to incorporate as well. What's neat about this is that hole is your gauge for the size the shaft has to be. So when you're getting a stick out in nature, you can make it fit in there tight, and it should fit in here tightly. So let's see how we can make that work. All right, we've dunked this in some linseed, and that will continue to dry. Now what I want to do is we want to put, this is bank line. It's Kevlar line that is saturated or coated with a little bit of tar, and that tends to make things pretty, helps it to grab and to stick to things, and it is not going to break. In fact, from what I understand, you can in some cases even cut through things with the Kevlar because it will not break. So let's take this, bring it around here, and wind it up around this spot that's designated for it. We want this bow to go up there so that we can keep this all nice and tight. This is about 20 feet. I'm hoping it'll all fit on there. We'll see what we end up with. All right, we've gone around here 3 times. The last one was not as tight as it had to be. I just need to get back up here. But we went through this loop. Remember the loop we made first, and then we started winding it up. So we've gone through that loop, and now we're going to take this right here, this tail, and pull that down so that it pulls it in. That should hold it nicely. Now we should be able to wrap our paracord around the rest of this, and it'll all be buttoned up tight. All right, let's have some more fun with this. Here's our fishing kit. We're going to tuck our fishing kit right down into that nice little hole that we've made into this, the butt of this handle. And then I had the idea of putting this arrowhead right in here and holding it in place with this Ranger band. Now they call them Ranger bands. I think they used them to tie, military use them to put around different things so they don't rattle, particularly their dog tags. But this here will serve us well. It's just an inner tube. You can buy an inner tube down at the bike shop or in the big box store, and that will hold our arrowhead into place. And next we'll take our paracord and wrap around that whole thing, and we'll do something similar to what we've done here, and we'll have us a nice little survival shovel. We'll attach our shovel and have it all set up, and we'll do a final wrap up and do a little show and tell. All right, let's assemble this. Line up these holes. Now, should line up nicely. Really like that they put screws in here this handle can easily be turned on a lathe, possibly even in a pinch. If it were to break, you'd be able to whittle out of a piece of wood, out of a tree limb or a stick, and get this whittled down here so it'd fit and be able to put those screws in. So there we go. We've got ourselves a nice little fishing kit in here. We've got a steel arrowhead in there. We've got some bank line, some paracord over at least 16 feet, maybe 18 to 20 feet of paracord. We have 20 feet of bank line. We've got Ranger bands here and a good sturdy tool. And one of the things that this is supposed to be a knockoff of the Russian Special Forces shovel. It is sharp all the way around. You're supposed to be able to chop with it, which I have done before, and it does work as a makeshift hatchet. It's not as efficient as a hatchet, but still will work. They even had to learn supposedly how to throw these and be used as a weapon. So I thought it'd be fun to just take this, modify this up, put some useful gadgets on there, and still have a nice useful tool. Probably put this in my truck. Hope you've enjoyed this, and hope to see you on the next video. If this has been entertaining, please hit the thumbs up and give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Sure appreciate it. We know there's a lot of other places you could be and spend your time, and we sure appreciate that you come by now and again and spend it with us. But hope to see you on the next video. Thanks again.